Ekoyokoya, 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 mahinda nemakinyo, ekoyokoya.
Hi, my name is Wangai, and welcome to the Kijiji Podcast. Kijiji Podcast is a podcast that will cover different kinds of topics. This podcast is about us, because Kijiji is a Swahili word that means village or community. So now the world is being said to be a global village, and with this it is imperative that we in Kenya and we in Africa are also able to lend our voice to the issues that are local and global that affect us on our everyday in our everyday lives. And these are topics that these are issues that are both social, political, spiritual, and cultural. So in my discussions on this podcast, I will draw my inspiration from the wisdom and the knowledge that is from my culture, that is from education, that is from academia, that is from personal experience, that is from religion and philosophy, and also the arts. We will feature music from time to time and musicians on this podcast. We'll also host other people who can also come and lend their voices to the discussion that we will be having and covering. So now, the tagline for this podcast is lend your voice. I want to lend my voice to the discussions and to the issues that are facing us today. I also want to invite others to lend their voices, that is you, the viewer. And also, as a trilingual person, I may from time to time switch from English to Kiswahili or Kikuyu. And in such instances, I will only do that where it is necessary and for the sake of clarity, or where the context requires it. And also in such places, I will endeavor to translate or to maybe even place some subtitles for the sake of those who are watching and who may not understand the other languages that I switch to. So this podcast is dedicated to Kenya, my motherland, dedicated to Kenyans, both in Kenya and in the diaspora. So because this is about us, and we have a unique perspective and voice that we can give to the issues that are facing the world today. It's also dedicated to the future and to posterity, and we hope that this is going to be a resource for those who need to refer for the sake of issues on culture, or the sake of issues of politics, social life, spirituality, because this world is for us, and we have a voice and a role to play in the shaping of it and its culture. So now, I'm also choosing to lend my voice and to invite others to lend their voices, because if we don't, then we are subject to manipulation, and we're also subject to being blown about by the winds that come from whichever direction. And so therefore, as a young Kikuyu, Kenyan, and African male, I believe I have a unique perspective on things, and that perspective is useful in the table of nations. And so here's what I endeavor to do. I do not hold myself out to be an authority on everything that I will be discussing. I therefore invite correction where I will be wrong and in error. I also invite redirection where I am misguided, tolerance where I may offend and may be out of line, and ultimately also forgiveness where I offend and hurt. And so I invite you to come along this journey with us. Subscribe to this channel to stay tuned so that we can also get the kind of topics and the feel of what we'll be discussing. And also you can comment on the videos that we put out. You can comment on our pages, Kijiji The Podcast. You can also use the hashtags that we'll be providing on for the sake of the discussions. And you are welcome to also share this, and also maybe even call in and write us an email. All this information will be provided on your screens. Thank you.